Okay, 3, 2, 1, boom. We will shoot live from Boom U. This is Energy Boom 101, and it's by the way, January 24th. Friday, January 24th, 2014, year of our Lord. You're getting a good look at Boom U there from the inside of Cafe Plaid. And you're going to get a good look at Cafe Plaid right now. Nice shot there. These are all the little mines that are on fire. That's a great mural, by the way. It's an amazing mural. We'll get back to that. But you're hearing the buzz and the boom of the boom, should I say. I shouldn't say the buzz and the boom of the boom. You're hearing the bubble and the buzz of the boom. There it is. Trademark that. The 3 B's. The bubble and the buzz of the boom. And by the way, there's a line of mines on fire here at Boom U, where there is an amazing confluence of market forces occurring. The first one is crude oil, and we'll explain that by reading this amazing article that's in the Wall Street Journal from Wednesday, January 22nd. And it's by Daniel Yergin. I'm sure I've mispronounced his name 20 times, and I apologize. But it's Reshaping the Global Energy Balance. That will give you a complete overview of what is happening in the United States and why this glorious little university right out there is going to be a huge part of it. As you can see, it's as we look here, folks, it is swelling with activity. These mines are on fire here at Boom U. But the other big market force we're going to talk about is cannabis, because you have the confluence of two really big market forces: crude oil, right there, we'll talk about that, and then cannabis. Capitalizing on cannabis stocks. We'll read this. This will give you a nice overview, and this is by Alan Brokstein. I'm sure I mispronounced that as well. I apologize. We'll get it figured out. But this is the cannabis sector that we'll cover. So right here at lovely little Boom U is the confluence of two amazing market sectors, crude oil and cannabis, and that's the story we want to tell here at Energy Boom 101. We've always sort of felt like the big pillars of this red, white, and blue renaissance will be crude oil and cannabis. And Boom U is sort of ground zero for definitely the crude oil, and since it's a college town, like every college town in the world, it's also probably ground zero for cannabis. And that's traded on Wall Street now, so that's part of the story. And then here at Cafe Plaid is just one of the many spots that we want to be able to tell this story from, broadcast from, show you the actual boom, and that's one of the greatest murals ever. All of this we're going to try and balance with privacy issues that emerge as we enter this new world of the interweb. Is that what it's called, the interweb? And media social, social media. Anyway, check it out, kids. We're not even 3 minutes into it, so don't panic. We still got time. I'm going to read. First off, I'm going to start and read the entire article. It's called Reshaping the Global Energy Balance. This is huge, and I recommend everyone go read this. It is in Wednesday, January 22nd's issue of the Wall Street Journal. It's the front section. It's a special advertising section. It's announcing Daniel Yergin, here you can see it right here, is vice chairman for IHS, and it's announcing their, I think it's the 33rd annual IHS CERAWeek conference, and we're not really too concerned with that because we're not going to get invited to it, by the way. It's a global heavy hitter kind of thing. We're just going to read this article, but we will quickly say, of all the attendees invited to CERAWeek, which, don't kid yourself, folks, is a huge deal. And you see some distinguished folks here and some distinguished names and energy. Oh, look at Exxon. Look at Exxon. How beautiful. ConocoPhillips out of Bartlesville. Baker Hughes getting it done. What you see are some amazing individuals that have been invited to it. But guess who else has been invited to it? And this is the Oklahoma company that I can see on here. And I'm sure there may be others, but right here is a picture of Doug Lawler, head man at Chesapeake Energy. I know that's fuzzy, but there he is right there. So it's probably a pretty big deal that Chesapeake was invited to this thing. And, oh, by the way, it's 4 minutes and 23 seconds past the hour, so we missed it by 3 seconds. This thing's totally out of control since this is the confluence of cannabis and crude. We will continue and hope to finish reading this article before the 15 minutes is up. I think we can get it done, so bear with me here. It says Reshaping the Global Energy Balance. And actually, you know what? You guys should probably get something enjoyable to watch while I read this thing. I would almost do a pivot, the patented pivot back in here to see these mines on fire. I'd like you to see the mural. I think that's very pretty. But it's probably fitting, actually, that you rest upon the view of Boom U as we read this article. Although I gotta tell you, I sort of like that as well. It's a bit of a hassle, but it's working. We're bringing it all together here. Let's go with this. That's an interesting sort of angle. Okay, here it is. Stand back. Reshaping the Global Energy Balance by Daniel Yergin. This, in a nutshell, will tell you exactly what's going on with the energy boom and what to expect. Let's see here. The development of shale gas and tight oil in the United States constitutes an unconventional revolution owing to its scale and speed. It is already having a profound global impact, upending energy markets, reshaping competitiveness in the world economy as a whole, and portending major shifts in global politics. Great final little work with words there, and I want to repeat this: portending major shifts in global politics. All right, the unconventional revolution was born out of advances in two technologies. Shocking, you've never heard these before. Hydraulic fracturing, or fracking, was first commercialized at the end of the 1940s. Initial efforts by George Mitchell to apply this technique to dense shale began in Texas in the early 1980s, but it took 2 decades to perfect the combination of fracking and horizontal drilling that would drive the new boom. It sounds like we're reading history, but the beautiful thing is it's actually history that's unfurling, and it's got probably 2 or 3 decades of history to unfurl. And it wasn't, I continue, and it wasn't until 2008 that these techniques began to have a major impact on U.S. energy supply. Wow, okay, so 2008, and that's, by the way, in the form of natural gas. A little inside shot here of the Plaid, looking good. Got all these crazy minds on fire here, waiting in line to get their coffee. Let's get back to the article here. You're going to want to hear this. Since then, and we're only at 7 minutes in the hour, so we got plenty of time. Since then, however, growth has been remarkable. Shale gas currently accounts for nearly half of U.S. natural gas production, and U.S. prices have fallen to 1/3 of European levels and 1/5 of Asian levels. I'd repeat all that for its importance, but you're just going to have to go read this on your own. Tight oil, produced with the same techniques as shale gas, is the main reason U.S. oil production has increased 60%. That's 60, by the way. 60% since 2008. I'd call that a growth spurt. This increase of 3 million barrels per day is larger than the national output of 9 of the 13 OPEC countries. The International Energy Agency, you've heard of them, the IEA, I think they're maybe out of Paris, has issued a few reports that we've gone over. The IEA predicts that the U.S. will soon overtake Saudi Arabia and Russia as the world's largest oil producer. That would be huge, would be an understatement. But let's stick with the story here, because this is just a great article. Here we go. Little more than a half decade ago, so basically 7 years ago, it was expected that America would be importing large amounts of liquefied natural gas, also known as LNG, not a ticker symbol, kids, just LNG, to make up for anticipated shortfalls in domestic production. That's because we all knew that we were switching to natural gas. Oh, by the way, this place is just booming. It's getting nutty boom. Here at Boom U, it's getting nutty boom with the kids. Their minds are on fire. Let's see here. But today, the U.S. is not importing any LNG, thus shaving $100 billion off its annual trade deficit. Let's get a good look out here at Boom U, because it's going to play such a big part in this whole glorious new spectacle. We hope we can get interviews with some of the leading thinkers in that territory. Let's see. Let's get back to the article. Speaking of leading thinkers, once again, back to this article by Daniel Yergin. We're never going to make the 15-minute mark. We might. Let's see here. The impact on global energy markets has been enormous. Billions were invested over the past decade to develop new LNG capacity targeting the U.S. market. Whoops. But with America awash in inexpensive domestic gas today, some of that LNG is now going to Europe, introducing unexpected competition for traditional suppliers Russia and Norway. Wow, crazy stuff. It's like a global chess match. In the aftermath of the 2011 Fukushima disaster, I'm sure I mispronounced that, I apologize, much of that LNG, remember liquefied natural gas, has also gone for electricity generation in Japan, making up for that nation's shutdown of nuclear power. Many countries are reassessing their energy policies in light of the unconventional revolution. China, you'll hear about them quite a bit, has prioritized development of its own gas resources. Replacing coal with natural gas for power generation there could mitigate public discontent and curb negative health impacts from air pollution. Okay, great. India, burdened with a growing import bill for oil and gas, is also beginning to target unconventional gas resources. The place is exploding, by the way. We got a gusher here, live from Cafe Plaid. We're gushing at about 700 barrels a day. Shut this thing down. This thing's out of control. Back to the article. One of the reasons for Mexico's historic reform of its energy sector is the scale of what is happening next door in Texas. And what is happening, by the way, folks, right here in Oklahoma, at Boom and Britain sees shale gas development as a way to boost employment. Yeah, okay, so it's all coming into play. It's all making sense. I continue the article. American shale gas is also changing the balance of competitiveness in the world economy. Inexpensive gas is fueling a U.S. manufacturing renaissance as companies build new plants and expand existing facilities. In a presentation at the Brookings Institution, and I'm going to mispronounce this name, so I'm sorry, Christine Lagarde, sounds French, managing director of the International Monetary Fund, wow, that's a hell of an outfit, summed up the challenge for Europe, and I quote, the new energy paradigm, if you will, as a result of shale gas, is certainly to the benefit of the U.S. relative to Europe. Yeah, okay, so in a nutshell, what she's saying, I think it's a she, maybe it's a he, I don't know, is that the shale gas is going to be much easier to extract with the technology that exists and the knowledge in the United States than in Europe, so we're going to set the energy tone and tempo for quite a while, probably. Back to the article here, because I'm just editorializing there and I don't know anything, and we're almost at 12 minutes into the hour, so I got to haul ass. All right, European industrial leaders watch with alarm as their firms' loss of competitiveness to U.S. factories using low-cost natural gas. This is a particular worry in Germany, where exports account for half of gross domestic product, and energy costs remain on a stubbornly upward trajectory. Poor bastards. European countries already facing high unemployment will likely reconsider aspects of their high-cost energy strategies or face further erosion of competitiveness and more job losses. So what you're really seeing through this article, and I'm going to say it again, everyone go read this article. Daniel Yergin is basically spinning in the reality of how energy is woven into and is one big biofeedback loop. Of course, this is now me saying this, not him. By the way, this place is out of control, I may want to add. Totally out of control. European industrial leaders watch. Okay, we talked about that already. I'm losing a little focus here, but that's all right. We're deep breath. We got 2 minutes left. We'll get this thing done. We won't, but at least we will have tried, by God. Tight oil has already demonstrated its geopolitical significance. Iran's move toward a nuclear agreement might not have happened without tight oil. When sanctions were imposed on Iranian exports, many feared world oil prices would spike and the sanctions would fail due to insufficient alternative supply. But the increase in U.S. oil production over the past 2 years, along with increased Saudi output, has enabled the world oil market to weather various disruptions and the missing Iranian exports. This combination allowed the sanctions to stay in place and pressured Iran to the negotiating table. This is huge, folks. We're going to bear through this because we're about to finish this article. In Arab capitals, anxiety mounts that increasing domestic oil production will fuel wholesale U.S. disengagement from the Middle East. Such fears overestimate the extent to which direct oil imports shape U.S. engagement. Rising domestic output, combined with greater automotive fuel efficiency, will certainly continue to reduce U.S. oil imports. Boom, remember that, kids. Yet, the U.S. will still import oil in the years ahead, though more of it will come from Canada. But even before the growth of tight oil, the Persian Gulf provided only about 10% of U.S. supply. It was not direct imports from the Middle East that drove U.S. strategy, but rather oil's overall importance to the global economy and world politics. In the future, the Middle East will remain an area of great geopolitical importance, and its oil will be essential to the functioning of the world economy. This means the region will long be of central strategic interest to the U.S. Final paragraph, folks. We're shutting this down, and we're going to make it at 15 minutes. The shale energy revolution provides a new source of resilience and enhances America's position in the world. The emergence of American shale gas and tight oil demonstrates once again a lesson that is learned and relearned. How technological innovation can reshape the balance of global economic and political power. Faithfully submitted, 15 minutes into it. Daniel Yergin, read this article, kids. 3, 2, 1, boom.